So, Chris, I hear that Steamboat Willie, or an early depiction of Mickey Mouse, has entered the public domain. I've seen a couple stories that say it's not
Hmm.
Steamboat Willie, and but most people seem to be saying
Really?
specifically Steamboat Willie. But certainly a classic Mickey visage is now in the public domain. And I thought I'd ask you, what does that mean for gaming?
I think it means a lot. I've seen a little bit that happened like almost immediately on January 1st,
Hmm.
which is quite funny. So what I've seen is a horror game. There will be a
Hmm.
horror game of some sort.
Right. It's like
That's one
rat
thing.
extermination, but then one of the big boss rat is Steamboat Willie.
Yeah, yeah. Because why not?
Hmm.
I know there's like a gangsterish one. It's not like Steamboat Willie exactly. It's sort of like it's a black and white cartoon, and all the mice look very similar to Mickey and Minnie and Steamboat Willie. So
Hmm.
it's sort of a weird like based on Steamboat Willie, but not completely. So I have seen that, which that's kind of an interesting take to use
Hmm.
creative license. Yeah.
For anyone that needs a little catch up, Steamboat Willie was the first cartoon that Mickey
Very
Mouse ever
first.
appeared in.
And
So that
very
is why.
first sound cartoon as
Oh,
well.
fancy. So
Hmm.
that is why it is entering the public domain because it is very
Hmm.
old, but also classic.
Yeah.
Um, I now so that's what people are doing with it. We've got a horror game and some sort of gangsters type game coming out.
Yeah.
What would you love to see though? Like if you
Yeah.
could put Steamboat Willie in a game that you want to play, what would that look like?
Yeah. Because the hard thing too is that you can't, because the way the public domain rule works is it has to be based on Steamboat Willie specifically. So
Mhm.
this was a big thing. I was like telling anyone within earshot if it appeared on my phone, because the big misconception was that, oh, Mickey Mouse entirely is public domain. It's like, no, Mickey
Mhm.
Mouse is not. It's the very first version of him, which is Steamboat Willie, the black and white, the like no full eye, like just the round black eye sort of thing.
Right.
And
Top hat,
so
black and white pants.
mhm. So I mean, you can, yeah, there's some liberty with it, but yeah, you can't go into the like, more realistic looking. That's not, it's still
Modern
not
Mickey?
realistic. Modern Mickey, there we go. Can't go to like Sorcerer's Apprentice Mickey. So, so it's a little bit of a hard thing because it's black and white Mickey. You have to kind of base it a little bit on that. But one thing I thought of, I mean, he's piloting a ship,
Mhm.
is to do some kind of a, like, you can't do a full racing game, maybe, but maybe you could, like a
Mhm.
boat racing game.
Sure.
That's one thing. Yeah.
Steamboat Willie Racer 64.
Yeah. There we go.
Um,
Oh,
I
can I throw another one out there
Sure.
immediately? Because this was our last reviewed game, and I'm thinking black and white and like simple graphics.
Mhm.
Return to Steamboat Willie. Do return to Obra
Oh,
Dinn style. Um,
that would be good because 'cause you're on another boat. That would be
yeah.
really good. I mean, we're going back into the horror genre pretty quickly in a sense. You know,
Oh, that
what horrible
mystery. It's a
thing
little
went yeah,
mystery.
mystery, I guess. What horrible thing happened on the Steamboat Willie boat, just after the
Maybe.
cartoon, shut off. That could be very fun.
Yeah.
I was thinking Steamboat Willie Steamboat Simulator. You get to
Okay.
pilot and build your own steamboat. You start from a
Hmm.
modest little steamboat and you work your way up to a bigger one, and you get to put the rooms around and manage your guests and put up some, host a poker tournament or something on the Steamboat Willie.
Yeah. Which now makes me think. I feel like this is a nice nostalgic look through some of our episodes as I keep going. But that made me think of, how about like a card shark? Like it's still on the
Oh,
steamboat, but
sure.
you're Mickey going through different casino tables.
I was
And
picturing more Spiritfarer, but I think that would be great.
oh, for is that
Uh-huh.
piloting the steamboat one? Is Spiritfarer? I like that. All right.
Yeah, that's I guess it was a steamboat, but
Steam
it was the
Steamboat
boat.
Fair.
Yeah, that would be fun. Uh, well, we have dragged this A segment on a lot. It's an exciting time. Steamboat Willie entering public domain. We will see what happens.
Yeah.
Two brothers play a game. Two brothers play a game. Two brothers play a game. Then they will rate that game.
And welcome to Two Brothers Play a Game. I'm Josh.
I'm Chris.
And this is a podcast where we, two brothers, play a game we found on sale for Nintendo Switch, though that actually is changing up shortly. We'll stay tuned to the end for a
Yeah.
little update and news.
Mm-hmm.
We do a
Some
fun
like New Year's resolution kind of thing.
we
Yeah.
do some
I
fun
don't know.
segments at the front half of the podcast, and then we discuss and review the game of the month in the back half of the show. This month, we're talking about Hot Wheels Unleashed.
Yeah. Hot Wheels.
This will
So as excited as can be, I guess. But
since this will actually be our last fun A segment for a little while, we're going to do something else with the A segment, the opening segment, for upcoming episodes. But I thought we would return to an oldie but a goodie, the best game we didn't play. This time for 2022.
Okay.
Now I have posted the bracket for you to take a look at in our Discord, and I will walk you through it. But just as a reminder, this is 16 games that came out in 2022 that I believe neither of us played. I do have some backups just in case you played any of these. So fear not. I have arranged them into a 16 elimination bracket style thing. And because this is a longer segment, we switched the format just a little bit last time. And we won't start talking about the games until the first elimination. And the first elimination is up to you based solely on the names and no research, no links, no clicking
Okay.
around.
We're going back to that one. Okay.
Yep. So for the first round, we have classic RPGs, and you will be pitting Chained Echoes against Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII Reunion. Which of those two should advance from the best game we didn't play of 2022?
I'm surprised that you didn't play Crisis Core, but
it's on the list.
Okay. I am going to go with Crisis. I'm sorry. I have to. So I'm going to try to go through the whole thing. Crisis Core, Final Fantasy VII. There's something else after that. Was there? Yeah.
When good friends get together, it is Reunion.
Reunion. There you go. I'm going with that just solely for that long name.
It is. There was also another one. I think it technically came out in 2023, but it was Stranger in Paradise Final Fantasy Origin, which was another Final Fantasy game that came out that I also haven't played, but is not yet up for contention.
Okay.
Chained Echoes look like a very fun kind of classic RPG. A little bit nicer than the Super Nintendo era, but definitely an homage to that era. So I will check that out someday, but let's keep going. Next up is the category Marvel vs. Marvel. And you have the options of Marvel Snap or Marvel's Midnight Suns.
Oh,
just confirming you never
I gotta go
played
by
Marvel
name,
Snap,
though.
did you?
I did not. I heard about it a lot, though, so that's where I'm trying to go just by name. I would go with Marvel Midnight Suns, though.
I think that was a good choice. I am excited to talk to you about that game because it seems really cool. But we can't talk about it yet. First, we must conquer the next category, Classic Games Reimagined. And your options are Tunic or Triangle Strategy. That's the strategy where you get two friends together, one on your right, one on your left, and you hold hands, I believe. The classic triangle strategy.
Triangle strategy, if we're going by names again. But
okay.
That is Tunic. Just a weird, yeah.
Tunic, I'm so sorry. You did a great job, but
Little
you
too
you were
simple of a name for me.
you were pitted against something that you couldn't beat, the triangle
Yeah,
strategy. The next
triangles beat tunics. That's, that's how
apparently
that
very
works.
a strong shape, I hear. Um,
Yes.
so next up is the category "These are shooters?" question mark. And you have Metal Hellsinger versus Neon White.
Oh, Metal Hellsinger.
All
By
right, Metal
by name.
Hellsinger. Neon White did win quite a few people's best of 2022, but it won't win ours. I'm so sorry, Neon White.
Okay.
Next up, Let's Build Something is the category, and your options
Okay.
are Cult of the Lamb or Dwarf Romantic.
Wait, Cult
Cult of
of
the
the Lamb?
Lamb, yes,
Okay.
versus Dwarf Romantic.
I think Dorf Romantic. Still going by
Okay.
name?
Okay, Cult of the Lamb, you play as a lamb starting a cult. But so sorry, Cult of the Lamb. You were very interesting in your darkly cute content, but we must go with Dwarf Romantic. Next up, we are doing the category Space Places with Hard
Okay.
Space Shipbreaker versus I Was a Teenage Exocolonist.
I was a teenage exocolonist. I'm gonna go with.
Really, really. Hard Space
Yeah,
Shipbreaker, very
I
interesting game.
know.
Um, I I
Maybe
I
that will be one of our February ones. I don't know. We don't really. We're probably not going to get for that this year, but yeah.
For our next category, we have the hype train, and on the hype train was Elden Ring and Stray.
He was Stray.
Okay, Elden
Moving
Ring, the
along.
the the game that won the most best of 2022 lists, beaten by cats. That is the theme of Stray. We'll talk more about that in a second. And the final category, two more games that didn't have a place anywhere else. And that is the game Immortality versus Rollerdrome.
Who? Think Immortality.
Oh, interesting, interesting. Okay,
That was a hard one.
okay. So I'm gonna start
Yeah.
sending you links here. It is
Okay.
time for the second round where we'll actually look at something like a Steam page or something along those lines to give us a slightly better idea. We've got Crisis Core, Final Fantasy VII Reunion versus Marvel's Midnight Suns. While you take a look at those links, I'll give you a quick recap. Let's see. So, Final Fantasy VII Reunion, Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII Reunion, a remake, full remake of a PSP game that came out quite some time ago, where you play
Oh.
as Zack, Cloud Strife's friend and the original wielder of the Buster Sword, on his mission before he even met. Well, I think Cloud is in it, but he is not the main character. There's
Huh.
an action combat system with some sort of gambling ring that adds a unique mechanic to its fighting combat, and it was fairly well received. What I think will be giving it a run for its money is Marvel's Midnight Suns, because Chris, you famously, well, famous to me, perhaps not to our listeners yet, are a pretty big Marvel fan. You read comics
Hmm.
growing up, a little bit probably still, and have you seen all of the Marvel Cinematic Universe or just most of it?
I have seen all of it. I will throw something out there for
Hmm.
listeners, viewers. The Netflix series is not part of the main Marvel universe or part of the MCU uh, Marvel canon, and so therefore I did not see all of those, but it doesn't matter because it's not part of MCU.
So it's not
So
canon. What happens at Netflix stays
it's
at
not canon.
Netflix. Oh, interesting.
Yep. It is canon in the way of it's part of the multiverse,
Ah,
but it's not. Yeah, it's not part of the main MCU
I was going to say,
world.
so we're not going to see Jessica Jones or something in a Marvel movie, and then I'm like, is that a DC
Not
character?
not currently, but we are going to see Daredevil soon.
Oh, That's
Daredevil
fun.
and Kingpin just came out tonight as we record this.
Oh, wow.
Spoiler: you can figure out what date that we have recorded this because Kingpin is in the new Echo series on Disney Plus. So there's all your Marvel trivia. So
All right.
Marvel movie trivia.
So the game that's going up against Final Fantasy VII Crisis Core Reunion is Marvel's Midnight Suns, where it is
Yeah.
a tactical strategy game. And you get to build your team of classic Marvel heroes like Spider-Man, Wolverine, Iron Man, and a host other, Blade, Ghost Rider.
Hmm.
And you also have a lot of chance to interact. So you are playing a hero yourself, a new hero who is working with all the your Marvel favorites. And there are times in between your combat missions where you'll get to just go hang out with Wolverine by the pool or chat with Blade by the water cooler and just hang out with Marvel heroes on their off time, which you
Because
get
they
the
have so much
action,
of it,
you
I'm
get the
sure.
character building, and you get to see how Wolverine handles the grill on barbecue day. So who would you
Sure.
like to, I guess I get a vote now too as well. Um, I I'm really excited for both these games. I don't know if I'll get a chance to play both of them, but I think I might almost be a little more excited for Marvel's Midnight Suns and give that a little bit of an originality factor over the remake Crisis Core. But that's a
Yeah.
tough one. I could go either way on this.
So is Final Fantasy like the Crisis Core one? Is that a little bit more traditional RPG
It's an action
or
RPG, and
okay?
it does have updated graphics and full voice
Hmm.
acting. Some of that, I believe, it was originally an action RPG back in the day, and obviously, there's been inspiration by the Final Fantasy VII remake. It's probably not that quite high quality, but certainly got a pretty good upgrade on the latest Go.
Gotcha. Yeah, I'm actually going to go with Midnight Suns also though, and I'm with you.
Okay.
It has a unique feel to it just because of its system, I think.
Yeah.
So
We can
yeah.
finally find out what happens when Blade eats Wolverine's last yogurt that he had put his name on.
Hmm.
Next up is the category with Triangle Strategy versus Metal Hellsinger. Gonna send you those links. Da, da, da. And Triangle Strategy is a modern game, not a remake, but is a Square Enix tactical RPG, kind of like Final Fantasy Tactics. And you can see
Huh.
the turn-based strategy, kind of board game-like battlefields that is very much like Final Fantasy Tactics and a variety of other games that use this battle system. But it
Yeah.
is a new take on an old format that I am very eager to try someday. Don't know when that'll be. Well, Metal Hellsinger, you
Hmm.
are a creature, maybe a demon, going through 8 different hells, and you have guns, and you are doing a shooter thing, except you are doing it in time with the music. You need to fire your pistols and your guns in time with the music. So you've got a rhythm game matched up
Okay.
with a shooter, kind of like Doom, maybe.
Sure.
Fast paced too, I believe. Uh,
Okay.
Looks very stylish, very cool, very interesting. Again, would love to play it. Not sure I ever will get the chance, but it looks pretty
Yeah.
cool. I've also heard the soundtrack is very good if you like heavy metal.
I'm gonna go with Metal Hellsinger because that is unique,
Hmm.
and I like that the music part of it being unique.
Hmm.
So I would, and I think I would rather play it than, I'm sorry to say, Triangle Strategy. And just looking at Triangle Strategy, it looks like a strategy RPG for
Yeah.
the most part.
It definitely does not have the unique factor to help it in this situation, um,
No,
but it looks
even
like a
if
great
it's
game.
done by
I'll try
Square,
it,
it's yeah.
but I am very happy to advance Metal Hellsinger. I think it's gonna have a tough time against Marvel's Midnight Suns, but we'll see. All right, let's keep going. We have
Both a very
Dorfromantik.
hellish one.
Go
Okay.
ahead and take a look at how that's written because it is a complicated looking pronunciation, but I've heard most people say Dorfromantik. And oops, that's just the title. You want the link. Versus
I see what
I
you're saying.
was a
Romantic.
yes,
Yeah,
I was a
romantic.
teenage exocolonist is the other
Yeah.
option. Um, Dorfromantik is a puzzle turn-based city builder that is absolutely gorgeous to look at. I I
Uh-huh.
have I've only heard good things about it, but I actually don't know much about the gameplay. Just that
Okay.
people really enjoy it, and I believe it even got a board game version not too long ago.
Huh.
Uh, it's really gorgeous. It's just kind of vibrant, not
Yeah.
quite pastels, but just this rich color palette, very complementary, and this very rural. Um, Aspects, because it's not just like a city builder, like a dense cityscape. You've got a wilderness and farmland, all of that going together. It looks very beautiful.
Yeah.
Versus I was a teenage exocolonist, which is I'm actually going to read the description on this one because there's a lot going on. Spend your teenage years on an alien planet in this narrative RPG with card-based battles. Explore, grow up, and fall in love. The choices you make and the skills you master over 10 years will determine the course of your life and the survival of your colony. So there's going to be a lot of
Mm.
hard choices in this kind of narrative story RPGs that will turn you into an adult over time, who will hopefully be able to keep your colony, your space colony alive. But maybe not
It's
if
all
you
on
go the
you.
wrong way. Yeah, you're very important. And also card battling. This one also very attractive color palette, in my opinion. I really enjoy what they do with the menus, the art for the
Hmm.
characters, and just everything looks really quite lovely and alien.
Hmm.
Any thoughts on this one? I'm pretty happy with both. I might lean Teenage Exocolonist just slightly for the
Oh,
style, but I think both of these look
for that style,
absolutely
huh?
good. Yeah,
I'm leaning and going Dorf Romantic
interesting, interesting.
because I mean, it's just a very different game.
Mhm.
I wouldn't, it looks to me like it has aspects of Catan just for kind of a building tile based thing, but so I can't, I mean, it's unique, but it
Right. Definitely
possibly was
board game
inspired by that.
inspirations to this.
Hmm.
From
But,
watching a little bit of this video, it looks like you lay down hex tiles on the exterior of your
mhm.
map to build it out slowly but surely. Um, I would be pretty happy with Dorf Romantic if you're pretty set on that one.
I think I am. The exocolonist, a bit RPG-ish, a bit to me.
Definitely.
I mean, it's probably not, but it's kind of that choice-based thing, and there's a lot of other games that are like that, I feel.
Mhm.
So
All right,
I
Dorf
think that's fine.
Romantic. Heading forward. And lastly, we have Stray versus Immortality. Now, these are another couple of interesting games. Stray, you play as a cat in a cyberpunk future. You kind of explore levels. You talk to robots. I'm not sure how many
As a cat?
living. Again, I have not played this game. You are a cat. You are interacting with
Yeah.
robots. Questions of I don't believe the cat is literally a talking cat, but has the ability to communicate in some simple ways. I believe you're trying to reunite with your family after you get separated early in the game, and you're exploring this very kind of noir looking dark cyberpunk
Yeah.
setting, kind of
Yeah.
run down. Looks pretty fun. Everyone was very excited for this game when it came out, which is why it was on the hype train category. And I think it
Hmm.
did very well. It does have an overwhelmingly positive on Steam.
The
Uh,
graphics look nice. Yeah.
Now,
Too for that. Yeah.
indeed, it does look very good.
But this is basically Homeward Bound, the cyberpunk journey. Is that
Yes, I like that. I'd watch
okay?
that honestly. Um,
That's far future. That's the um, re redone one, the
Yeah,
updated.
where Sassy the cat, Shadow the phantom assassin, and, let's see, Chance the robot that sometimes breaks down, go on a long journey
There we
together.
go.
Now we have Immortality is who it's facing, which is a fascinating looking game. It is using like found footage from three films that were never published. This fantasy, this isn't real films that were never published. This is for the game, but you do watch scenes from these movies that were filmed with real actors, and you have to uncover a mystery as you explore through the scenes, almost like you're a film editor. So you're going backwards and
Hmm.
forwards through the film, looking for secrets and trying to uncover what happened. Much more of an artsy style game. It's kind of some people love it, some people weren't into it. Got a mixed review on Steam, but I know the people that
Okay.
did love it really loved it. And again, for that unique quality of having filmed, portions of three different movies for this video game, and then having you be able to go through it like you're a film editor. That sounds fascinatingly interesting.
Yeah. I It kind of reminds me of I mean, without actually playing it, like there's a weird arcade game that was really hard to play. It was Dragon's Lair.
hmm I'm
I don't know
familiar.
if you like, it was a weird video,
Yeah, it was like
just a video pretty much.
like a fancy cartoon you could
Cartoon.
watch that you
Hmm.
would interact with via the controls. I hear
Yeah.
it's a lot of like timing based button presses.
Hmm. Yeah. Kind of reminds me of that, but I know this is not that. So yeah. Did you have a
Let's see.
thought?
I I think Stray looks like a very fun and interesting game to play. I would play Immortality much before I played Stray, just because it sounds really creative. Um,
Yeah.
I think I might have more fun playing Stray, and like that's might be where I land as the better of the two games, but I'm more excited to play Immortality. So I think that would advance for me.
I'm with you. I'm going with Immortality, even though I think it is such a kind of one-off game to
Mhm.
play. Whereas Stray, I could see like you'd want to spend a lot of time with it and do it. But
Mhm.
yeah, but I'm so intrigued by Immortality. Like I'm
Mhm.
actually thinking about getting it after this, possibly.
Yeah.
So
I think we're gonna
yeah.
go get some Immortality a little bit later on. All right, time for the, let's see, semifinals. It is Marvel's Midnight Suns get to chat up Wolverine in between
Oh,
missions versus Metal
uh-huh.
Hellsinger, heavy metal, demon slaying, and
Ooh.
hell to the beat of the music. Probably got those very strong bass and drum lines going, powerful beats, pushing you forward to shoot creatures on beat. Um, I like Marvel's Midnight Suns a lot for this one. I think that one is going to
Yeah.
have a hard time losing for me because I just really like the idea. Like BioWare is famous for making these games where you go out, you have an adventure, and then you come back and you chat with all your adventuring friends, and you really
Hmm.
get to know these characters. You can invest in them, and there's probably a development of that character based on the interactions you have, and story changes that could happen. People can leave your party because they are upset with the decisions you've made. Where it's so character focused, but with characters I already know, like Wolverine. I think that would be really interesting because usually when we're watching Wolverine at the movies, except for I think the usually he is doing action stuff. Now we get to see him living life, probably still in costume.
So, and I'm with you. Like Immortality, or sorry, um, BioWare.
Marvel.
I'm mixing
Uh huh.
up so many names. BioWare, the company.
Uh huh.
Um, I know I've played another Marvel game. Oh no, no, no! I know what it was. They did
Dragon Age and
KOTOR, I think,
Mass
didn't
Effect.
they?
I think they also did
Mass.
KOTOR
Well, and then also
before
KOTOR.
this. Yeah.
Yeah, and Mass Effect. And I do like that. I like the interactions with that quite a bit. Um, I am actually though going with Immortality because
Immortality is not in this round.
oh sorry.
Marvel's Midnight
Um,
Sun versus Metal Hellsinger.
Metal Hellsinger. I don't. My mind is on Immortality because that is a fun game, but I forgot what its affinity is. Um, I think Hellsinger. I was thinking Hellsinger though, just because that's still such a unique game with the soundtrack and that
Okay.
idea.
I think I do think that is very fun. I really enjoyed playing, Doom, the 2 modern Dooms that came out that also have that heavy metal music and shooting, no on
But
beat for those. Uh,
right, so that's what's really interesting to me for it. More
but
than I mean,
playing more
Midnight
of that
Suns. You've got
sounds interesting.
the for the music based sort of thing.
Yeah,
Or are you
because
talking
because
about
I
Midnight
like
Suns?
Doom, I think I might like Metal
Yeah.
Hellsinger because it takes inspiration from that while elaborating as well.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And because I mean, and don't get me wrong, what you were saying about Midnight Suns, I really like. I like Marvel. I like that kind of game for kind of a strategy RPG. But um, yeah, I mean, like I feel like there's still an aspect of it that's been done versus um, I know why I keep wanting to say immortality is because I still have that in Discord on the screen.
Ah,
um, but Hellsinger, I mean, it's not a usual shooter game. It sounds like, and like it's easy to be a shooter type game. And so I just like that it's doing something different. I mean, like we keep saying, neither of us have played it, so it might just be terrible. But
right.
for a
I
rhythm
I
shooter
mean,
game,
most of
but
these games I've heard good things about, at least somewhat good things, 7s, 8s, 9s out of
yeah,
10.
but because I really like the Kingdom Hearts one. I can't think of the name of it, but that rhythm
Oh,
based
yeah,
one,
the
and that
music rhythm.
yeah, um, not Chain of Memories. That's another Kingdom Hearts one, but the song one. I mean, like I really enjoyed it because Kingdom Hearts has a great soundtrack, and it's just there's a different way of going through the story, and so
Mhm,
if I'm thinking about Hellsinger as a rhythm game, that's that just seems fun and different,
mhm.
and
And
yeah,
it's Kingdom Hearts Melody of Memory, so hence why it's
melody of
easy
memory.
to mix
I
up
had
with Chain
memory.
of Memories.
I had memory in there.
Heart of Memories 358 over 2. Um, so
That's going to be the
all
sequel,
taken
but
from real Kingdom Hearts titles names for anyone that's not familiar with that series. All right, so I think we're at an impasse because I'm all for Midnight Suns. I like
mm,
Hellsinger. You're all for Hellsinger, so I think we're gonna have to flip a coin. Do you want to call heads or tails?
Tails.
Tails wins.
Okay.
All right, well done, Metal Hellsinger. It was a close
Did
race. You managed to edge it out at the last second.
Did you flip an actual coin?
I used
Just out of
Google's flip a
curiosity.
coin.
Uh,
It actually done flipping before you said tails, and so I was like, "Well, it's still random because he doesn't know what it says." All right, so now,
okay.
obviously, immortality is advancing because you've tried to advance it 3 times now, but it is up
Like I
against
said,
Dorf
it
Romantic.
was the title was on. Oh, see, Dorf Romantic though. That I mean, like,
Mhm.
wow.
V very pretty city
See, I was
builder
saying I couldn't
versus
remember what. Yeah, and board
movie
game,
mystery game.
city one kind of thing.
Mhm. Both I
Um.
think are quite original. Dorf Romantic obviously taking a lot of
Mhm.
cues from board gaming, while doing beautiful digital work as well. Immortality, um, you don't see a lot of full motion video in video games anymore. It kind of had a
No.
heyday in the 90s for a little bit where everyone was trying to use it, because it was cool new technology, and it only comes
Yeah.
back occasionally nowadays. And this one
Yeah.
dove all in on having real actors doing filming, not famous names you'd see at the movies today, but real actors performing scripts and putting a whole mystery in
Yeah.
it, that interacting through movie editing style techniques is just very creative.
Yeah. It sounds like you're pretty sold on immortality, though.
I think I am. I think you have
I
sold me on immortality.
I think it.
But
I mean, like I was trying to think through, and it really came down to the one that I want to play more
mhm,
after looking at them both is immortality. Like I do want
mhm.
to play Dorf Romantic, but yeah, I'm just so intrigued by that, and I think because my hope is that it is really good because like you touch on the ones that were made in the '90s, those were infamously bad.
Yes,
And so,
most of them were very
but
bad
the
or
potential, like
awkward.
it just has, yeah, yes, and but the potential was there. Like I could see what they were trying to do. We even used to play an actual board game that would incorporate actually two different board games that would incorporate DVDs. They're both Disney themed as well.
Yeah,
The
Disney's
theme of
seen
this
it.
whole podcast episode is Disney, apparently, but that's um, yeah, Disney seen it, and then the Pirates of the Caribbean one, the ship,
Oh, yeah. That was kinda fun.
yeah,
I don't remember
yeah.
anything about it other than that was kinda fun.
So yeah, I, I think with both of those, it felt I felt like there was that did the video stuff the best, but it was incorporated with the board game. Anyway, all that to say, immortality. I think it has
I think
potential.
so too.
High potential.
I think
Yeah.
immortality looks very interesting.
Mhm.
So, let's see, I was gonna say something. Don't remember what it was, so let's keep going. Uh,
Okay.
our final round, our finals is Metal
Oh,
Hellsinger, the heavy metal shooting on the
yeah.
beat versus Immortality. Find the mystery hidden inside these three unreleased films and the
Mm,
stories that are behind these movies. I think I know who's advancing for me. Do you know?
I think so. It might be the
Yeah.
same. Is it
Hellsinger kind of lost on the last one for me. It reached my limit. Immortality keeps
okay?
going forever and ever.
Yeah.
So I think
Yeah.
Immortality
It
is
is
going to be my
immortal.
advancing.
It's,
Yes. Well done.
yeah.
So congratulations to Immortality, the
Immortality.
2022. Feel free to put this on your box art. This is official. We are locking it in here, putting it in print and
You could do
shipping.
those weird quotes like these guys said.
This is the best
I
game I
want to
didn't
play
play.
it.
Yeah. That's a really novel concept that I haven't explored yet at all. Immortality winner of the 2022 Best Game We Did Not Play. Metal Hellsinger runner up. Well done, both of you. I think what I was going to say is 2022 was smashed full of games that I both didn't play and wish I had.
Yeah.
I had quite a few that I wanted to put on this list and had to pare it down to 16.
Huh.
Couple of the backups, just in case we had needed them,
Banner
were
year for them.
God of War Ragnarok. That was a huge title that won some
Yeah.
awards.
Yeah.
Two
Hmm.
Point Campus. I really enjoyed that goofy
Hmm.
simulator game. And Nobody Saves the World, a game where you play as nobody, I believe. I don't know. I didn't play it. Let's move
Right.
on to the big topic of this episode, though. Hot Wheels Unleashed.
Yeah.
Chris,
Is
how would you just?
unleashed.
We did it. We unleashed them, guys. Watch out. They're small and they will hurt your feet.
Yeah.
Um, how would you describe Hot Wheels Unleashed?
Pretty simply,
Hmm.
it's a racing game using fun cars, um, and tracks that are set uh, to scale, but in the real world in different environments. And there's
Hmm.
some different types of races and time trials and stuff like that to get
And I think it
there.
is a very simple game. I did not have much of note here, but the only thing I'd add is you also get to collect the Hot Wheels.
Yeah. Yes.
So
You do
there is a big
if you
selection of
buy enough of them.
cars
Yeah.
that either as racing or paying real money, I believe, you can
Hmm.
unlock cars using a loot box system or gacha system, and get all of your favorites from childhood. That seems to be a potential draw to the game that I did not connect with, but we'll get back to that. Uh, let's let's talk about the presentation. Um, I
Yeah.
I think I kind of want to lead off just with a uh, caveat almost of
Okay.
I had very high expectations going into this game. I was
Oh,
uh,
yeah.
they were not quite met, unfortunately, and part of that, I think, is, this is a game that came out for PC and PlayStation 5 and Xbox One
Mhm.
and Switch. Switch being the
Mhm.
least powerful of those with the smallest screen, it kind of makes sense that might not have been the best fit. So I worry that I didn't give Hot Wheels Unleashed a fair shake, but possibly just because I played it on the Switch first rather than a PC or something with a bigger, more vibrant graphical screen. Uh,
Well, but still, like it tried to go realistic, and yes, on Nintendo Switch, you're not going to have the highest graphics processors. So I mean, presentation wise, it went for a somewhat realistic presentation.
mhm.
Like the Hot Wheels cars look like Hot Wheels cars,
Yeah, yeah,
and
it looked
realistically so. But that's what they're trying to accomplish. And even still, I don't, like I don't know if it would look that good on the higher end consoles either.
I was very impressed, by the screenshots I saw. Now, and mind you, that's marketing
Okay.
imagery. I'm gonna send you the Steam page for Hot Wheels Unleashed because it does
Um,
look different, on the PC screenshots versus the, um, Switch actual gameplay, um, such that I do believe there would have been an upgrade. Would it be enough? Really hard to say. I do not have it on PC to check against.
yeah,
But one thing I'm noticing in some of these screenshots of the actual footage, like, there is a texture to the track that looks somewhat
yeah.
realistic. Like, this looks like the toy. This looks like you could see kinda like the plastic printing lines. There's a slick plastic texture and glossiness to it that feels realistic versus what was on the Switch, which felt like just an orange flat texture laid down. It was the right color of orange, and
Hmm.
that's all it was. And
Well, and that's maybe the most like what you the screenshots. Um, that's probably the most is like the track in the background looks more
mhm.
rendered to me. The cars look a little more rendered, but I don't think by much. Like
Yeah, the cars
they
looked
still did a
fine,
good job.
yeah, on the Switch.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, more realistic track. I don't know if that's the thing that's needed the most. I don't know, but
I I
it's
just wanted
nice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I just wanted something else. I mean, for presentation-wise, I think the Switch really held it back, and the small screen thing, like, I really love the
Hmm.
idea of, "Let's go race through this college library or this skyscraper, construction site." That sounds really cool, but on the Switch's small screen, I was mostly focused on the race, and the background was so
Yeah.
small that you didn't get that larger than life
Yeah.
feel of, "I'm a toy racing through a big world,"
Yeah.
to me. Did you have
I can
trouble with that,
understand
or
that.
did
Yeah.
you get that sense of scale that probably they were trying to communicate?
Sometimes the first couple courses I didn't even realize that that's what they were going for.
Mhm,
Like I was kind of wondering if they were, um, and I didn't get that sense in the first couple courses. And it was like when it went to like the college one,
mhm,
that's where it hit me of like, oh, this is a college dorm room, and they set it
mhm.
up kind of thing. And then the skyscraper the most was to be crazy, um, but it's hard to tell in some ways. But I don't know if it was for the screen with the screen for me, or if it did need maybe the more realistic graphics and it was gonna render a little bit better. I don't know. Yeah.
What did you think about the track designs? Because that was something that I kind of got held up on. There's a lot of TikToks and YouTube videos of people who put little tiny cameras on their Hot Wheels and then they race them through a crazy track that they actually made in real life.
Yeah.
And I was really wanting something more like that where it felt more lived in. There's a little
Yeah.
bump in it because the book you had to put the track on was a little thicker than what you'd want, but it was fine. So now there's a
Mm-hmm.
little hill in the middle of your track. And
Mm-hmm.
the tracks are being held together by supports because they're over a large expanse, but then you actually do need those supports because in the game, these tracks just float in the air. There's hardly any
Hmm.
supports of any kind, while in reality, things are a lot tougher. But that also creates that fun sense of scale and nostalgia to me. What did you think of the track layouts?
I was surprised in that same way too because it felt like there wasn't enough stunts. Like I was looking for more a stunt track sort of
Hmm.
course, like what you're saying, and a lot more loops and a lot more weird turns and things like that. I thought that it had a weird hybrid of some of the course felt like it was trying to be a professional race course,
Hmm.
and then it would almost switch back and forth in one course of like having some turns that are like that, and then it would then switch to like, oh no, this is definitely some kid set this up, sort of
Right.
thing. So it was very weird to me in that way, um, to have the track like that, um, and have it be Hot Wheels. Again, I wish that it had, and it did have the dinosaur sometimes that's
Hmm.
infamous with those, but I wish it had some other pieces like that more often,
Hmm.
like a volcano or yeah, I don't know. Go through a car wash, go through like a Hot Wheels car wash or
I
something as part
remember
of a track,
those.
you know? Like,
Honestly, that could be really
yeah.
fun. Like, I was picturing more of the toys that I remember from childhood, like the car wash that you could
Hmm.
race down through, which was like a garage and a car wash together, and there was little
Yeah.
rollers that you'd push your car through, and the little ramp that would send it flying out through the garage, and racing on those tracks, but it felt less like the toys, like you're saying. It felt like they were trying to do more serious track design, like having
Hmm.
some S curves and things like that that would be challenging for racers to get around, not so
Yeah.
much fun, goofy things that are um, interesting like that. Anything else in presentation, or shall we move to gameplay?
I feel like we're already moving into gameplay because
Mhm.
of talking about the track. So
I had
yeah.
when I thought about gameplay for this game, kind of going into it, and again talking about those expectations versus reality, I had thought this would be closer to a kart racer. I thought there would be
Hmm.
power-ups, weapons or boosters or things like that that would help you with
Yeah.
overtaking the opponents and kind of give that back and forth mechanic a little more than just a traditional racer would have, and a little more
Yeah.
goofiness.
Yeah.
But it's not. But you have the very basics. You have drifting and boosting. You when you drift well, you get your boost filled faster, and then you can fire up the nitros effectively. And that's really the
Hmm.
only outside of steering and braking. That's really the only other mechanic in this driving game. No power ups, no weapons, no even drafting or slipstreaming, which I thought was unusual.
Hmm. Well, and that's what kind of bugged me actually the most. Um, yeah, I feel like for you it was a lot of the presentation. For me, it was actually the gameplay because going into it, you had toy like cars, which lends itself to a kart racing game, but
Hmm.
it was not like that at all. And I have that bit of problem that I feel like they were still trying to do something with the controls so it's not it, I feel like they were trying to go in between a kart racer and like a racing simulator,
Hmm.
and that kind of bothered me because it just wasn't the best controls for I felt like a little bit of a steep learning curve to really figure out because they're small toy cars, so there's a certain dynamic to controlling them that seems more like kart racing, but they made it a more racing simulator control. So,
It was definitely challenging. I did eventually get the hang of it, and I found the boosting
mhm,
and the drifting to be engaging enough to keep me wrapped up in the race as I was going. But I did feel like there was something missing. Like you had opportunities for more interesting um, anything. Oh, I fell off that track all the time, just like you are showing in the gameplay right there. Got distracted watching that. Speaking of gameplay and falling off the track, I found the track to be very unforgiving and also very, like,
Yeah.
uh, I wanted it to be more physical, I guess. Like, I found myself, like,
Hmm.
if you go at a bad bump with your booster on, you will fly off the track, kind of like the Rainbow Road problem, Mario Kart. It is very easy to go flying off
Yeah.
the edge, and then you gotta reset, and you lose some time, and that you could maybe do that once a race without getting knocked down too far, but, if you make a couple mistakes like that, you're gonna be back of the pack pretty fast.
Yeah.
Um there was a follow-up, Rainbow Road, boosting off the edge. Oh, the other thing is,
Tricky.
sometimes when you were just about to go over, you would just hit an invisible wall. Like, there'd be a flag that is
Yeah.
as hard as rock, and it would launch you back down to the track in a very unrealistic manner. The flag wouldn't bend because a toy car just ran into it. It would just knock you back to the track, and it's just like, "What? This doesn't feel cartoony or re unre or realistic. It
Like
just
somewhere in
feels
between. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
it feels
Yeah.
uncanny.
Hmm. Well,
It
that's the big problem that I had too. Sorry, I think I interrupted you, but
Oh, please go.
yeah. Oh, I that was a.
So we just had a little internet hiccup, so we're picking up our conversation a couple minutes later, and we had just been talking about how both you can easily go flying off the track and have to reset, which is pretty annoying. But I guess it's fine. You have to learn the tracks effectively, so you don't do that. And then also, you can sometimes run into these invisible walls that were just hovering slightly above the track, and they just pop you back down. So it looked like you're going flying off, and then all of a sudden you hit a wall and you're back down on the track. And I guess that's a good thing, but it didn't feel very realistic nor goofy. It felt almost uncanny. Any thoughts on that?
No, I would say it feels very not fully fleshed out in a way, because it was more of an uncanny kind of feel than like they just couldn't choose between two different kind of genre things.
Hmm.
Like that's what it was kind of feeling like to me. So yeah.
I do wonder about this game's, budget and scope and what their imagined audience would be, because I think it's been a fairly successful game. I've heard people talk about it every now and
Hmm.
again and get some
Yeah, I see
reasonably
things pop
positive
up for it. Yeah.
reviews. So it feels like this was close to maybe a double A title instead of a triple A title,
Hmm.
and it probably had the budget and almost feels like it didn't go very far in terms of making this game.
I don't know. Like I don't know if it was necessarily a budget problem because it's a racing game. I mean, it's kart racer or it's like more racing simulator. Like you only
Hmm.
have maybe a couple of choices really if you're going to use cars for it. And so I don't know if it was a budget thing or if it was they were trying to do something different, but you can't do a lot different with something like it.
Right. They were going a little more
So
serious than we were hoping when we signed up to play Hot Wheels
yeah,
Unleashed.
because
Um,
I like the idea of like the getting the toy cars and kind of collecting them and things
mhm,
like that and having them each have different attributes. That's
mhm,
great. But it, I whether or not I want it in more. I guess personally, like I want that in a kart racer, um, not a race simulator kind of thing.
mhm.
Yeah.
How did you feel about the loot boxes and the car collection you were growing as you played?
I didn't have that too appealing to me.
Mhm,
The one thing that I was okay with was being able to buy them, but like I so the one that I did buy actually I've been using in the video and for that play. I bought that dragon one just because it was cool looking, it was
mhm,
nostalgic, but it was really about the attributes that it had. Like it was kind of between a couple of them that I was looking at, and it's like I just need a different car
mhm.
than what I've been using, and that's the one that the stats appealed to me the most. So as an actual like feature of the game, there's some cool things, but like the ones that I really wanted, I'd have to spend real money, and I'm like, I'm not going to spend real money on.
Mhm.
um, so that's not. than too appealing to me. Um, yeah.
Ye Yeah, I found the system to be adequate, but very bare bones. I was able to
Hmm.
get a couple good cars that were able to carry me through the races, so I didn't feel pay to win or anything like that. I had to spend extra money just to get the good car so I could actually finish the races, which was
Yeah.
nice. But
Yeah.
also, at least in the time I played, which wasn't a lot of time, there was still plenty of game left when I put it away. Um, I I didn't have that big a collection. I was getting a lot of duplicates out of the loot boxes, which,
Hmm. That
that's
was me
part of
too.
loot boxes, but also
There's
it's
a lot.
it did not feel like it did not feel balanced in a way I expected, I guess. Um,
Yeah.
I thought it would take a little longer before I started getting duplicates, or I'd get a little bit
Yeah.
higher rare drop rate where I'd get those fun and unique cars that I didn't have yet. Um,
Hmm.
it didn't feel very good from that perspective, but I had enough cars. I had the Wienermobile, and it had pretty good
Oh,
stats, and
nice.
I had a little, like, spatula at the front of my car, which sometimes I could get underneath the car in front of me and kinda mess them up, so I
Oh,
had, like, a kind of weapon that just worked.
yeah.
Um, so it was goofy, it was fun, had good stats, so that was
Mm,
fun.
okay.
Um, I the gameplay to me was very adequate, like, this is enough, but it's not quite what I wanted.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, touching on the story, there isn't one.
Yeah.
That's fine. I didn't expect there to be. Yeah, I always love
Yeah.
it when games prove me wrong. Like, oh wow, you really got creative and told a little story in the middle of this Hot Wheels racer. But that's not here. I'm not going to fault them for that. I thought it would be goofy if there was some sort
Yeah.
of becoming the Hot Wheel champion of the world. I don't know. It's fine though. There's just a kind of game board that you move around, and there's
Yeah.
different race events, boss events, and time trial events, and it's all basically the same thing, and it's fine. Did you try the track editor by chance? Because you can make your own custom tracks in this.
Oh, see, I was kind of wondering about that, and I was trying to look for it. So no, I did not,
Okay, it
because
is
I
an
wasn't sure
option.
exactly where that was at. Okay.
I think it's on the main menu. I'm not sure. I also did not explore it.
Yeah.
I didn't think it would be very good on Switch from what I was experiencing with the game so far, so I just sort of was like, it's fine." But FYI, that's an option where you can make your own Hot Wheels tracks, and maybe that would allow you to incorporate more of those goofy things that we kinda wanted, but also shouldn't that have been in the game from the start and not require me to make it for
Yeah.
myself.
Yeah.
Um, any final thoughts for you before we get onto rating?
No.
My only last thought was I felt a little let down, but I don't know if that was because my expectations were too high or because I played it on the Switch versus the PC or something. Uh, I just I thought it sounded really fun to explore these toys from my childhood and race them around. I've had positive experience with Hot Wheels video games in the past, but this game just did not nail the nostalgia element for me at all, and just it wasn't what I was looking for. Then would you
Yeah.
like to go first on rating, or shall I?
I think I can go.
Sure.
Um, I hate to actually give it this rating because it's not a terrible game, but
Hmm.
I actually can't even give it one thumb up.
Gotcha.
Um, yeah, I I was hoping for more, like what you were saying, and I knew it was going to be a racer of some kind, but
Hmm.
it really bugged me that was really in between like a kart racer to me. Again, I mean, maybe somebody will find it different, but it was really in between a kart racer and like this weird racing, trying to be realistic racing simulator,
Hmm.
and I it just didn't do it for me at all.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I For me, this game is gonna get one thumb up. It felt very much
Okay.
like this is a racer. It's doing all the basic things it needs to. It's got the cool Hot Wheels cars that, it delivers the bare minimum that was promised, but it does deliver it. So
Hmm.
I think I'm comfortable, and I had fun with it. I didn't love it, but I had fun. So I think I'll give it 1. Not
Okay.
Was not considered for 2, but also I think it did enough to get the 1 for me.
Okay.
And how about, Hot Wheels Unleashed 2 actually already exists. So are
Yeah.
you tempted by Hot Wheels Unleashed 2 at all?
Not at all.
Not at all either.
Not at
Uh,
all. Yeah.
yeah, I don't think that's any surprise from
Yeah.
what we've been saying about the game. It's
Yeah.
it's fine if you want to play Hot Wheels and you don't and you come in with kind of low expectations. They're probably going to get met, unfortunately.
Well, that's. I don't think you and I are racing gamers. We're maybe
Right.
kart racing gamers, but we don't even play that much of different kart racers. And so, like, I can see this being for someone that just likes racing games in general, and I
Hmm.
think that's great, and I think that's fine. But yeah, it's something that's I I feel like for us, yeah, we're not going to get the sequel. Yeah.
So unfortunately, that's just a 1 out of 6, which is tied for our lowest score with Taiko no Tatsujin or Taiko Master, the rhythm game. I think it was a little better than Taiko no Tatsujin, but probably not much, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Oh well.
I mean, I think both of them had that potential, and it just didn't reach the potential for us.
Hmm.
I feel like so. Yeah.
Um, at 750 though, I don't fully regret the purchase. I might fire it
Yeah.
up every now and again for
That's
a
what I was
couple
thinking.
quick
Yeah.
races, but
Yeah.
uh, probably not going to be played too much for me. So, next up on our podcast, we are
Hmm.
returning to our Chrono Trigger recap pod. We have exited the future, the
The future.
desolate future, and we
Finally.
are moving on to a new place. So, stay tuned for that in
Hmm.
the next couple weeks. And then, as we hinted at earlier, we're doing a little something different at 2024 in that we both signed up for the Nintendo Online expansion pass. There's those two models. It's like $20 a year for Nintendo Online, which gives you online service as well as access to their Nintendo, Super Nintendo, and Game Boy games.
Hmm.
The expansion pass is 50 for the year, and it also adds in N64, Sega, and Game Boy Advance titles on top of the
Yeah.
Nintendo Online. So we're going to be doing that for a good chunk of 2024 to kind of keep it in that price range. Since $50 is way over what we'd normally spend, we're going to do at least 6 episodes,
Spread out.
but maybe more. Yeah,
Yeah.
and kind of spread out the cost and see do these classic games on the Switch? How are they ported to the Switch? Does the nostalgia factor work for them? Do they hold up compared to modern games? And that's what we're going to be looking at first. And for our A segments, we're going to be doing kind of a grab bag of whatever little titles that weren't quite enough for a full B segment discussion, but we wanted to talk about and touch on. We'll do
Yeah.
maybe 4, maybe 6 if we're feeling ambition titles of those during our A segment. And then in our B segment, we will both be playing for this first episode Jet Force Gemini, originally for the
Yeah. A
N64. So,
classic.
so this one
Kind of a
does
classic.
require the expansion pass, and it's not available if you just have
Hmm.
Nintendo Online. But we both played pretty much the entire thing, I think, back in the N64 era. This is one of the
Hmm.
games we had, and I have very fond memories of it. So I was excited. This one was fairly recently added to the expansion pass library.
Oh.
So that's what we'll be
Okay.
doing for at least the first half, if not a bit more, of 2024. And look forward to those episodes. You can send questions into two brothers play a game at gmail.com. You can find us on Twitter, two brothers PAG, at two brothers PAG on Twitter and YouTube as well. Chris has our podcast now up on YouTube with a small video segment of you could see Chris chatting, not me because I don't have a camera, but you can also see gameplay footage that is incorporated throughout, and you can see Chris live streaming games and having video on demand for those live streams as well. Lots of fun things to check out. Please review us on iTunes. If you have a sec, that would help us immensely. And Chris, I think the last thing left to do is if you could add any one game to Nintendo Switch Online, what game would that be? And what's your favorite line from that game?
Hmm. Well, of course, it would have to be Chrono Trigger, and I think the line would be "Mountains are nice."
This is the life.